Hello Magpies and welcome to this character introduction for the upcoming Heroes of Heterodoxy Dungeons and Dragons game. So I am here with Lachlan. Say hi, Lachlan.
Hello, hello.
Hi. Lachlan's pronouns are he/they. So let's get into it. I believe you have not made a warlock. Is that correct?
Yes. Norman is definitely a wizard and not at all even a little bit of a warlock.
Okay, cool. Good to know. Alright, so, why don't you tell me a little bit about Norman? The abstract, the cliff notes.
So, yes, Norman was raised in Cormier by a single mother. His mother, Agatha Lightbringer, is one of the paladins of the Purple Dragon High Knights. His father, whose name he does not know, was apparently some sort of sinister warlock. He has never asked how it happened. He is much too embarrassed. But in any case, he has been raised exclusively by his mother. He has inherited his mother's sense of law and justice. Unfortunately for him, he also inherited his father's magical abilities and chronic noodle arms. So when it turned out that he was completely incapable of lifting a heavy maul, Agatha sent Norman to a wizard university at Stormhaven House. Norman was expelled from Stormhaven House early in his second year, and in a drunken haze, he may have made a teeny tiny pact with some kind of devil. But he still follows his mother's teachings. He is still determined to serve what is good and right and lawful and light. He's just, using a slightly different source of arcane power in order to do so.
Okay.
So his main goals in life are use magic to help people and don't let his mother find out where the magic comes from.
I think we can all relate to that in some degree. We make the best with what we have. So, you have chosen the Disgraced Scholar background, which I believe is a homebrew one you wrote yourself.
Yes. So it's functionally, in rules terms, it falls between the regular sage/scholar background and the charlatan background. It gives me the ability to convincingly impersonate a member of the Cormieran War Wizards. I did not successfully graduate from Stormhaven House, but I have the uniform and medallion of a graduate. So unless people are intimately familiar with the War Wizards, they will assume that I am a War Wizard.
Yeah. The badge of office of the War Wizards is specifically a cloak clasp. Sort of like a Welsh dragon that sort of joins up in the middle. And Norman may or may not know this, but his is essentially a non-magical replica. The actual War Wizard clasps, when held up to the throat, allow... it kind of works like a radio, basically. It accesses a communication channel whereby all of the War Wizards can communicate with each other.
Yes, I don't believe Norman would know that. I don't think that's something that they would tell you until you graduated.
Yeah, he just knows the uniform.
Yes.
And your alignment is lawful good.
Yep, it takes more than one little demonic pact to break being raised by Agatha Lightbringer.
Yeah, lawful good warlock. I love it.
Yeah, Agatha once chased Norman around the house with her holy maul because he lied about stealing a cookie.
Not the cookies.
Like, you can't break that kind of upbringing. At least he thinks you can't. Maybe if the devils actually realize what he's doing, they'll be upset. But at the moment, Norman is much more scared of his mother.
Yeah, I can see Norman potentially disappointing both the forces of light and the forces of darkness in his quest.
That's how I play D&D, baby!
Hell yeah. So you're a human, specifically a Cormyrean. I assume you'd be either a Chondathan or a Tetherian human. Honestly, it doesn't really make that much difference which. It's like the difference between French and English.
Yes, I believe that he is Chondathan. He speaks Chondathan as his primary language. He has also learned the Loros and Thoras languages, which are useful for navigating courts and scholars.
Mm-hmm.
And he has learned both the holy and unholy languages, celestial and infernal.
Yes. And if there are any French or English people listening right now, feel free to be mad in the comments that I compared you to each other.
Yes, absolutely yes.
So your stats will go down. Then you got an 8 in strength, definitely noodle arms. 14 in dex, honestly, pretty quick, pretty lithe. 12 in constitution, above average. 14 in intelligence. Yeah, I can see why he got. He would have been accepted into a mage's college.
Yes, he also has expertise in the Arcana skill. Because of his time in studying. I think that's from one of his feats.
10 wisdom, nothing exceptional.
Yes.
And 16 charisma.
Yes, he is more charismatic than he thinks he is. I think he's not particularly socially well versed, but surprisingly good at navigating awkward situations if he doesn't put his foot in his mouth.
Yep.
The foot in mouth is going to be the problem.
Yep, the foot and the mouth, like positively and negatively charged magnets.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't wait to see your character and Void's character just foot in mouthing their way through every social interaction.
Oh boy.
So you have Arcana with specialization in that. So obviously your failure as a wizard has not impeded your capacity for learning.
No, he didn't fail because of his grades. He was kicked out of the college because of a prank that went terribly, horribly wrong. So he was a good student up until the incidents.
Yeah. Perhaps there's a conversation to be had here about whether Dungeons and Dragons worlds and mages colleges properly diagnose learning disorders and ADHD and such. You know.
Yes. I mean, as someone who's had a bugger of a time trying to get a proper diagnosis of ADHD in real life, all of my characters have undiagnosed ADHD. It is inevitable.
But we don't want to cause anything like the wheelchair accessible dungeons dialogue on Twitter that was around a month or so ago. Twitter is a funny place.
Twitter is an awful place.
We have history, investigation, and religion. So basically, you kind of got knowledge skills across the board, all except nature. Skipped botany.
Yes, he didn't take any classes in that. He's an indoors boy.
All right. And you got proficiency in perception. And deception and persuasion.
Yes, again, he's more charismatic than perhaps his initial performance in conversations would suggest.
Hell yeah. And also forgery kit.
Yes, that's one of the things that he has picked up along the way to help him out with this maintaining the charade of being a lawful member of the War Wizards. He may have in fact made that replica brooch himself, or at least bought a souvenir and polished it up a bit.
Yeah, something from the gift shop. Bought something from the gift shop on the way out of the Mages College.
Yeah, and electroplated it or something. But I understand electroplating, I'm not sure if I would. But
I don't know, we got electrum plating.
Yeah.
So, and for your equipment, we have you wear leather armor, which is
Yes. I'm aware. Like I could get away with using mage armor, but I find the physical armor is more reliable.
yeah, and at least where we're headed, people won't really be surprised by that, as most mages do tend to wear a bit of armor. In Cormier, it might look a little bit more odd, so maybe you wear it under your fake wizard robes.
Yes. I think there are parts of it which are on top of the robes and parts of it which are underneath.
Yeah, and you're skinny enough that the extra bulge doesn't really show around the chest.
Yes. It's a little bit cobbled together, the armor, because that's not really an official part of the uniform. It's made of bits and pieces.
You got a dagger, and your arcane focus is its Leviosa, a wand.
Yep, just a good old classic wand.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I have and yes, on top of that, I just have the scholar's pack, which I don't think has anything particularly remarkable in it. It's just what is in the scholar's pack: backpack, book of lore, bottle of ink, pen, parchment, sand, and a small knife.
Yep. Essential stuff for surviving a dungeon.
Yes.
Yep.
It's actually one of the most expensive packs, even though it has very little in it that's useful.
Yeah. And from your regional equipment, you got a couple of second level spell scrolls, which will be useful in the future, I imagine, once you gain the ability to use them.
Yes.
At the moment, you're just punching a little bit above your weight. So, you have your feats. You took variant human, I believe.
Yes. So I'm starting with 2 feats.
So it looks like we got education, which is a regional feat that gave you language and skills, and magic initiate in sorcerer, so 2 cantrips and detect magic.
Yes.
Then your meager selection of warlock spells. Honestly includes a pretty good selection of cantrips. You got the old essential Eldritch Blast as well as Firebolt. You got the range game down. Those Mage Hand. And
yes, he's not a frontline caster in any sense.
No.
But yes, I've picked up Eldritch Blast and Mage Hand from the Warlock, Firebolt and Prestidigitation from the Magic Initiate. I think like the idea with Magic Initiate is that's a combination of his inherent magical talent that he has inherited from his father and the basic lessons that he has learned at War Wizard School. And I did pick Sorcerer to provide the feat rather than Wizard because I wanted to character optimize. I'm building for Charisma. I'm going to pick a Charisma class. I'm not much of a power gamer, but I am also never ever going to take multiple different spellcasting stats. That is too complicated.
Oh yeah. Ain't nobody got time for that.
No.
And Prestidigitation, honestly, best spell in the game. I'm going to call it.
Yep.
Then for your first level spells, we got Burning Hands and Hex.
Yes, as well as the once per day detect magic from the Magic Initiate.
Oh yes.
Which I put at the bottom of the spell slots table on the character sheet, so that I know it's different.
Since I did the same for Void, I might as well just say that we're going to regard that as part of your spell list, so you'd be able to ritual cast it.
I don't actually remember if warlocks get ritual casting. I think that's only if you take only if you take the Pact of the book.
You are right. So yeah. However, I'm still happy for it to be on your spell list. You could use a slot to cast Detect Magic, though. Yeah, that would be Basically, you're all your spells at this point.
Well, yes, I only get one spell slot per short rest at the moment, being a warlock. I know that some warlock players are notorious for demanding short rests after every single encounter, so that they can freely burn every single spell slot they get per day. I'm not really one of those. I'm happy to actually be careful with my spell slots most of the time.
Yeah, and I mean, that's something DMs can punish so easily. It's like, oh, the people in the next room of the dungeon are like, oh, we heard a huge battle and now we're peeking through the keyhole and seeing them resting for an hour.
Yes.
Let's pile all of our explosives around the doorframe.
I'm pretty sure that I've fallen for that one in some 4th edition games that I played, because that was also a very rest-centric edition.
Isn't it weird how, the 4th edition is actually like 5th edition?
I think that if you really want to count every separate publication, there have been a total of 7 editions of Dungeons & Dragons, and that's possibly even 8.
Yeah?
Depending on how you count. What was it called? D&D Essentials, that weird attempt at a 4.5.
Oh, don't get me started on 2nd edition skills and powers.
Yes.
I could use the skills and powers rules to create a level 1 character a level 1 cleric that could cast Wish at will.
Ooh, fun.
Yep.
That's kind of all you need to make Pun free access to Wish.
Yeah.
You can kind of do anything with that.
Okay. So, that looks like your character numbers all laid out. So, do we have an idea of how we're going to play him? What is going to be his progression, his arc, or are we just going with the punches, saying yes to the story and seeing what happens?
Being a warlock, I get 2 choices of subclass, of course, one at 1st level, which is my Infernal Patron, and the other one at 3rd level, which is the Pact Boon. And the Infernal Patron, of course, I've already chosen, being level 1, is the Infernal. My powers do come from hell. But the Pact Boon... So I know that I've spoken about this a little bit, but I think that hell might be mildly concerned by the son of a paladin attempting to use their power to serve all that is good and light. And if Norman just so happens to take the Pact of the Chain and earn a familiar, it's entirely possible that the familiar he summons won't actually be happy with his behavior. That perhaps the familiar will be somewhat more critical and inquisitive than the average wizard familiar. Yes, there are demons whose job it is to find people who are misusing their power and either convert them to the darkness or betray them. And some of those demons are very good at their jobs.
So he's got a caseworker.
He may have a caseworker, yes. There may be an infernal caseworker coming up if Norman manages to achieve any sort of power or notoriety before his horrible death.
Yeah, hell and bureaucracy. But I repeat myself.
Yes. There are lots and lots of middle manager devils. I think there are more middle manager devils than any other type of devil.
Oh yeah. It's just like a what do you call it? MC Escher painting. MC Escher picture of just paperwork going around in a circle.
MC Escher org chart.
Yep. Oh god. Okay, so and in terms of roleplay wise, do you have an idea of what he's going to be like?
Norman is I'm already drifting into character voice there. Norman is a bit nervous about things. Norman is very highly strung and doesn't really want people asking too many questions about his powers. Norman is
imposter syndrome incarnate.
Oh yes, very much so.
Can't wait to see him.
Mhm.
So, having abandoned your studies and taken up the unauthorized mantle of a war wizard, you find yourself at part of the greater movement for righteousness and justice happening in the society, the greater crusade, the armed pilgrimage, the Raven's Banner to reclaim the lands destroyed by Underdark creatures and drive back the Dark Elves who are attempting to exterminate the gods and humanity from the world. And you have found yourself kind of stumbled into an ironically sort of middle management position anyway. Because in addition to all of the main army bodies and such, there are a number of diplomatic missions that are being sent to the far corners of the Empire as a combination of, I guess, diplomats / treasure seekers / whatever. And you end up, well, some of the organizers of the camp, of the Raven's Banner camp, think it would be a good idea to have a war wizard go along to supervise one such mission. Since it consists largely of extremely foreign individuals who have come from the far corners of the Empire, and you end up sort of I guess, quote unquote, put in charge of a couple of mystics from Kalimshan who are about to be magically transported to the distant and almost mythical status land of the Silver Marches, almost like the Irish afterlife of Tirnanog, the mythical land of the fairy. Apparently nobody has set foot there quite some time. Some people don't even believe it's fully there. But it is known to be home to some of the greatest magical colleges, some of the best knowledge of magic and magical libraries on the continent of Faerun, let alone on the world of Toril itself. And so, the chance to make something of yourself in your fraudulent position as a fake war wizard, or perhaps a chance to find yourself and to live a new life, or to find people who accept you as you are, or just to burn out brightly, disappointing everybody.
Yes, doing something that helps the Empire, but on the far outskirts of that Empire does sound like Norman's sort of thing. On the one hand, he's still helping people and serving the cause, but on the other hand, he probably won't run into anyone who knows his mother.
Yep. All right. So, you hyped? Yep.
Yeah, you cut off for a second there.
Oh, sorry. I said, are you hyped?
Yes, I am hyped.
Hell yeah, I am hyped as well. So, I believe we are almost ready to go. So, I shall catch you all soon. Take care of yourselves, and swoop, swoop.
Swoop, swoop.